The fortifications of Bucharest are a ring of 36 fortifications built in late 19th century that surround Bucharest, the capital of Romania. The fortifications of Bucharest, comprising 18 forts and 18 batteries constructed between 1884 and 1903, represent one of Eastern Europe's most ambitious military engineering projects of the late 19th century. To design this ambitious ring of forts, Romania sought the best expert available. They turned to Henri Alexis Brialmont. He was a famous military engineer from Belgium. Brialmont had a great reputation across Europe. He was known for designing strong, modern fortifications. Some even called him the Belgian Vauban, comparing him to the famous French military engineer of an earlier era. His expertise was precisely what Romania needed for such a crucial and large-scale defensive project. His involvement brought international prestige to the endeavor. Brialmont traveled to Romania to personally oversee the initial planning stages. He carefully surveyed the land all around Bucharest. This was essential to find the best locations for each fort. His plan was truly grand. He designed a massive ring of fortifications to include 18 main forts. These forts would be the strong points of the defensive line. In addition to the main forts, there would be 18 smaller intermediate batteries positioned between them. This created a continuous and interlocking defensive perimeter designed to cover all approaches to the capital. The construction of these forts began in the year 1884. It was a monumental task. The project required thousands of workers. These men labored for many years to bring Brialmont's designs to life. They used vast quantities of materials. Concrete was essential for the thick walls and structures. Steel was used for reinforcement and for the gun turrets. The forts were engineered to withstand the most powerful artillery shells of that period. The scale of the construction was unprecedented in Romania, reflecting the seriousness of the perceived threat. The design of each fort was complex and carefully thought out. Most of the structures were built largely underground. The visible parts were low profile to make them harder to target. They featured incredibly thick brick and concrete walls, sometimes several meters thick. Gun emplacements were strategically positioned to provide overlapping fields of fire. Many forts were also connected by a network of underground tunnels. These tunnels allowed for safe movement of troops and supplies. Each fort was a self-contained defensive unit, a miniature fortress in its own right. When the Bucharest forts were completed, they represented the latest in military defensive technology. They were considered state-of-the-art for their time. However, military technology was advancing at an incredibly rapid pace during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. New, much more powerful artillery cannons were soon developed by major European powers. These new guns could fire heavier shells with greater accuracy and destructive force. Suddenly, the thick concrete walls of Brialmont's forts, once thought impenetrable, were no longer guaranteed to withstand a sustained bombardment from these modern siege weapons. Another significant technological development that challenged the effectiveness of fixed fortifications was the rise of aviation. The first military airplanes were beginning to appear. These aircraft could fly high over defensive lines and forts. They could be used for reconnaissance, spotting weaknesses in the defenses. More worryingly, they could also be used to drop bombs directly onto the forts from above. This added a new dimension to warfare that Brialmont's designs had not fully anticipated. Fixed ground defenses became more vulnerable to attacks from the sky, bypassing their strongest frontal protections. By the time World War I began in 1914, the military value of the Bucharest fortification system was already being seriously questioned. Military strategists realized that these forts might not be able to withstand a determined assault by an enemy equipped with the latest weaponry. The Romanian military command faced a difficult choice. Defending Bucharest from within the fort ring could lead to a prolonged siege and massive destruction of the city itself. Consequently, a strategic decision was made. Bucharest was declared an open city to avoid such a devastating battle and protect its civilian population. As a result, the impressive ring of forts around Bucharest never truly fulfilled its primary defensive purpose in a major war. They did not face the ultimate test of battle they were designed for. Their obsolescence came relatively quickly, a testament to the rapid evolution of military technology and tactics during that era. The enormous investment in their construction did not yield the expected direct military return in combat. It was a hard lesson about the fast-changing nature of warfare, where even the mightiest defenses could be outpaced by innovation. The silent forts stood as a reminder of this swift change. After the forts became militarily obsolete, their fates varied greatly over the following decades. Some of the structures continued to be used by the Romanian army. They served as storage depots for equipment and ammunition. Their robust construction made them suitable for such purposes. Other forts were repurposed for different uses, sometimes civilian, sometimes still military, but not for frontline defense. However, many of the forts were simply abandoned. Left to the elements, they slowly fell into disrepair. Nature began the gradual process of reclaiming these massive concrete and earth structures, with vegetation growing over their ramparts. One of the most well-known and infamous of these fortifications is Fort 13 Jalava. This particular fort gained a very dark reputation throughout the 20th century. It was converted and used extensively as a military prison. During Romania's communist period, Fort 13 Jalava became notorious for housing political prisoners. Many individuals who opposed the regime were incarcerated there under harsh conditions. Its name became synonymous with suffering and repression, a grim chapter in the nation's history, far removed from its original purpose as a guardian of the capital. Battery 910, located in Catalu on the eastern side of Bucharest, offers a different glimpse into the past. This site is one of the better preserved examples of Brialmont's intermediate battery designs. While also facing neglect for periods, it has attracted the attention of historical enthusiasts and heritage groups. There have been initiatives and volunteer efforts aimed at cleaning up the site and promoting its historical value. Some work has been done to make parts of Battery 910 accessible for guided tours, allowing visitors to see and understand its original military architecture and function. Today, many of Bucharest's forgotten fortresses remain largely hidden from public view. They are often overgrown with dense vegetation, their entrances sealed or difficult to find. Yet these silent sentinels are an undeniable part of the city's rich history. They tell a compelling story of a young nation's ambition, its efforts to secure its capital, and the relentless march of technological progress that ultimately rendered them obsolete. There is a growing awareness among some historians and local communities about the importance of preserving these unique structures. Perhaps one day, more of them will be recognized as important historical landmarks, testaments to a bygone era of military engineering.